This is Independent Voice. I am Mame. Mr. FOUAD's biography. Last session.
Thank you again for joining us and welcome.
I will stop there for the part of the experience and go through the lessons learned globally and especially focus on the message to the next generation. So you see, first of all, I thank you for this long session of discussion because beyond sharing and beyond having a good listener here who guided the whole thing properly, it's also a kind of therapy, you know, because at least you put out there in a very sincere, without having at the back of my mind any strategy. It's pure sharing of lessons learned and empirical experience. I never mentioned any writer except for the ethical part maybe. I never mentioned people names except for ours. I never condemned my dad. I never condemned anyone. I became a global analyst now because the world in which we're living, no matter how beautiful things we have done, we went even up to sending machineries to Mars and people to the moon, and we're going and exploring beneath the water, under the ground. We have done so beautiful things in medicine. We have the cars that we're driving today are completely insane. And I mean, yes, we have gone a long way in our development, in our understanding of the world, but at the same time, we have destroyed our planet. We are destroying several billions of people. It's almost like as if we were unconscious of what is happening around us, you know? And yet we had beautiful minds that had warned us through several books that they had analyzed and shaped our philosophy of life, shaped even the politics, and warned us about war and the evilness of war, etc. And we don't learn. You see, today, in a very sincere manner, if I had to say something, although God, my destiny, allowed me to go everywhere in the world, whether Asia or Middle East or Africa or Europe or America, Latin America, everywhere. It's a chance. It's a blessing. Okay, I don't regret that. On the contrary, but it is also a heavy load because you have seen it not only in one spot that is being criticized, denigrated, forgotten, etc., but everywhere. If today we have to go back in history, the Red Indians, what happened to them? Let's talk about it, you know. Latin America, all those coups that were organized for many decades. Why? The Bolsheviks and all what happened in Russia, the war in Europe for many, many centuries, until the latest one, which was the the war, the Second World War, where millions have died. Today, another war here in Europe, where it was unimaginable that that would come one day, because they said no more, but no, they repeated it.
Mm-hmm.
Elsewhere, we're triggering wars after wars. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And we know why now, because there is interest behind it, because there is tomorrow's economy behind it, because there is the Coltrane and whatever behind it, etc. So knowing that, if we go at the origin of our creation, man-made,
Mm-hmm.
this world, with the level of science that we reached today, where we can see everything through satellites and many, many, many things,
Mm-hmm.
this world at the origin was created in the most beautiful manner.
Mm-hmm.
Pure air, pure water, pure land. Okay? In that, again, through science, we know that everything on Earth existed millions of years ago. And in each species, whether it is vegetable or animal or human or earth or whatever was created from the beginning, whatever we need, even in today's world, is provided for in this nature. If we didn't have power seeking, if we didn't have greed, if we didn't have this crazy mind of human beings of always being on top of the other, the competition part and the way things were constructed so far, and we only help each other, some doing the plantation part, some preserving the water, some the animals, some this and this, year after year, without competition, it would have been sufficing for everybody and on equal footing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Today, not only that is impossible, and we don't see it except for those who are rich and they do for their own, even when it is some surplus, they prefer to throw it in the sea or burn it instead of giving it to those who are hungry. No. It will destabilize the economy, so we have to dump it.
Wow.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but with all the absurd, without control technology that we have developed from the industrialization era up to now,
Mm-hmm.
we blew our ozone. And now climate change, and we have flood here, we have burnings here, we have gradually killed our beautiful planet.
Mm-hmm.
That was built in a so beautiful manner, in a so complete manner. You see, today we have killed it, and if we don't care more and swiftly, then the end of the world, we will bring it. It will be us bringing it. It's not God. It's us bringing it, you know? So I don't know when humanity will wake up from this anesthesia in which we are. But that would have been my first analysis, that everything was provided for us from the beginning, and we tend to forget it, and we were swallowed into greed and division and power seeking and idiocy, even without forgetting that beautiful things were done.
Mm-hmm.
Because each time when you talk about this, people say, yeah, but we did this and this. Yes, we did it. But where is it leading us at the end of the day?
Mhm.
Do what you do, protect the planet, and then give it to everybody. That would be maybe a solution. But you're not giving it. You're even providing it to the fishes by throwing it dumping it into the sea, or burning it so that the smoke goes and destroys the ozone. Where is the logic? I'm not more intelligent than anyone else. I just witnessed what I witnessed, and I came up with this kind of thinking and sadness and anger deep inside me, you know. So not only for the younger generations, but for our leaders of today and tomorrow as well, I think we have to go back to the basics. First, I think the way we bring up our kids is very important.
Yes.
Because I started with my coming into this world and with what I was faced, not because anyone had the fault or anyone wanted any harm to me. They fell in love, I came to be, but the context didn't allow many things. That already comes from the society, not from my dad, not from my mom, not from me. It comes from the society. What kind of society did we have then that could push someone to quit her love and stigmatize her because she was with a Muslim, or stigmatize him because he was with a Christian, whereas the country was from the beginning a welcoming country when these religions were created or were happening, were sent or proclaimed. In any case, that already gives you an idea of how leaders should shape the nations that they are leading from before it's gone. Bygones are bygones. But if we want to build societies that will appease us all and appease the future generations, the basis should be better than this. What we teach should be more loving, empathetic, caring, sharing, regardless of race, religion, and all this kind of things. At least when I say I praise my dad, it's because no matter what had happened at the beginning, what he provided me with, paying from his own pocket, was a multiracial, international, everything, so that it can shape my mind more broadly, even if I had the lack of family love and siblings and things like that. It gave me something else. That is what is allowing me today to share with you this vast experience, you know. But I'm not an unhappy person from that regard. I am even a loving person, I would say. But if today we have to say something for the next generation, the fundamentals should be corrected. The teaching that we give to our kids is very, very, very important. The competition thing is just crazy. Today, you don't buy a Nike to your kid, khalas, it's a war in the house, you know. But that is the beginning of the future greed, you know, because I would want tomorrow the Ferrari, you know, when I grow up. You see, that's the system that was created in the West because they wanted it. Here in France, Bergson and Durkheim, all these big thinkers, when you read them, I'm telling you this to corroborate what I'm just telling you. They they were big thinkers, huge thinkers, and that is undeniable. But for example, when colonization came to be, and France occupied many African nations, West and North, etc., one of the major tools on which they had worked hard so that assimilation can be obtained was to impose the language. But the language could not be imposed without the schooling system completely being imposed. And to smoothen the acceptance of this imposition, they had to integrate, if it is an Islam country, the Islam component into that schooling, tolerance to that, instead of that being the source and this being as an addition. No, it was an imposition of a new system of education and language, and tolerating their local traditions and religion and everywhere like that, So that has changed wholes of generations for decades and decades. And that's how you change society. So they change it to their benefit. Now we inherit that, and we are incapable, even without independence, to build our own system, our own shaping up of our generations. That's what should be done, because they did it. They showed it. You can go and find it in the libraries. You see? Why is it, especially us as Ethiopians, 3,000 years of existence, not colonized, and still we take copy from others? Why? You see, the killing today is so sad. We have, all of us, a broken heart, but it shouldn't have happened to a country that is proud of having 3,000 years of existence, 3,000 years of fighting against enemies, 3,000 years of preserving its culture and language and everything. It shouldn't have happened, but it happened. We should question, it happened. Why? You see? So today it's not about finger pointing to anyone, because that's no more necessary, because those who had died already is too much. Too much. We're bleeding inside. Blaming anyone, it wouldn't serve to anyone. Dividing between ourselves, saying, okay, if that is so, I am Amhara, I am Oromo, and I am Muslim, and I am Christian, and we fight over Twitter, and we fight, and blah, blah, blah. And we are preparing for another generation of fighters, another generation of maybe genocide between us, etc. No, that's correct. If we are abroad and we are meant to have studied, if we are inside and we have studied, if we are religious people and we know that God exists, if we are people who are influencers, etc., where we have to focus our efforts is not the division. It's not only the nation. It's really putting the basics down on the table and say, let me know, why are we leaving? Why are we leaving? To fight all the time? When I was a kid and that revolution happened, and I gave you the time span then, we were not the revolution makers. We were just after them in age. We are the sacrificed generation. Because we saw it, we were traumatized, we didn't bring it, we didn't benefit from it. We became countryless today because without trauma, we went out, we kept that trauma forever. Going back, you have another type of violence that you see. You get out again. What is waiting for us now? You have the impression that it is going in good footing, but I think there are much to be done. I don't want to pinpoint to anyone, but much to be done, not only waiting from the government that everyone wants to criticize, not waiting from anyone in the opposition, etc. It's a collective thing. Why am I not going to Twitter now? Because it's so divided. The way we were united at some point, it's completely the opposite now that you see. How can we shift from one status of unity to a division that is so terrible, insulting people? I wanted to get into one space just because the title was interesting. They insulted me and chased me out.
Oh, wow.
You see, it doesn't affect me. Again, how is it possible for us, especially educated, knowing, or religious people who read, who know, or our elderly who have the empirical experience, not to say, sit down, በቃ ይቅር እንባባል የወደፊት ጀኔሬሽኑን እንደገና ኤግዛምፕል እንሁን. We were example not to be colonized. Let us be example by settling our own issues without hate. You see, teach the kids all the big philosophies that were created to show them that even with these philosophies, things went wrong. Look, the wars that had happened before us. We don't want to go that lane. The killings that we see today, it's as if it was normal. No one is talking about it. We talked about the peace process. Everyone wants peace and everyone wants the talk. But the blood is not yet dried, So let's do it in a settled and gentle manner, because peace we all want. And ultimately, any conflict should end up with peace. To that extent, we know. We signed and we abide by what we signed, and we bring about what is ought to be brought. Because our time has gone already. So if we want to build the future generation, show them something else than this. That would have been my message, my dear.
Very powerful message and very timely and tested through life experience. It's not something that you're talking about because you read it somewhere. Life itself has written it in your life journey.
Yeah.
This is coming out of pure tested experience, life experience, a walk of life. Not because you're sitting back and you had listened to somebody's story and you're reiterating that. You're not analyzing somebody's experience because so-and-so said this and so and said that, but then, this is what I think. This really is a look back of a lifetime journey. Yeah. And to listen to you come to such a profound and very timely and important message, because this is the time for the next generation and for us coming back to the basics. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It can't get any profound than that. However, it sounds so basic and so elementary, but I think that is the most profound thing any one of us can say, which is coming back to the foundation, coming back to the basics. What were we intended to be? Why were we put on planet Earth? Why was this planet entrusted to us? We were given a good earth, a good one, that you put seed in it and it will give you amazing things. The skies will open up and the rain comes down and it grows the greens and anything else and everything else. It provides us water. It provides us life in general. And look what we did to this planet that was given to us. without necessarily so much atrocity in it. And you had also said some things like, we created this, we made it to be what it is, and we're going to have to live with it and live in it. So I don't even know how to or where to begin to really give it a nice wrap around, because listening to you, and I've made it a purpose to not interrupt you so that your thought process can really flow freely. And what we have done and what I've heard you do today really is share a lifetime journey. You know?
Thank you.
The book of Ismaël Frédéric, FOUAD, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how grateful, honored I am for you to choose this forum, teeny tiny independent voice,
not little,
to share such a heartfelt, real life experience, because it means a lot. I know it's going to resonate with a whole lot of people, because like I said, if we were to go out there and ask people, thousands and thousands and thousands of people could probably repeat most of what you have iterated here today. From the beginning to speaking of coming from two, different world, be it religion, be it culture, be it family status, be it education, be it so many things, right? Completely like different side of the spectrum. You coming into this world and being in the middle, and based on what was instilled in you from your dad, and to this day you speak of him so highly, you call him dad. I mean, that says a lot, right? And because of the value that he instilled in you by putting you into that specific school, and how your life has been shaped because of where you started grasping the knowledge that led you to today, right? And how important it is, because you talked the importance of knowledge because that's where you were raised, right? And you landed in talking about the importance of knowledge and education because that shapes the future. And you can imagine where education was when you were growing up and where education is today. And that's the frightening piece, because what we put in our children has become more of politics, more of the world that we just talked about, and you described it as being destroyed, completely dismantled, and sort of has lost its innocence, so to speak. And in all the different journey that you had described in Africa, in so many of the different countries, in the different positions, and all the work that you've been involved, especially in the humanitarian work, it's clear that you've done it out of passion. Because when you started talking about, so I had completed my education and now I was ready to work, you could have gotten into so many different fields, right? You could have started working in so many different places, but destiny, be it whatever it was destined to you, be it, the will of God, you ended up being in the humanitarian world, and look who you have become because of it. Yeah. You have become this person that you had described as the global analytic person, not because you've done so many different researches, but because you've lived through life, and life experience by itself is giving you that footing to sit back and kind of look at the world and say, it don't matter where you're sitting at, it don't matter how you're looking at it, the world is the world. Anywhere and everywhere we step into, we see the same atrocities. We see the same reasons why humanity is losing its touch. We see the corruption, we see the degradation of the morale that we were once known for. And it's just, to me, so fascinating. And once again, my dear brother and friend, Ismaël, honestly,
my dear sister,
it's an absolute honor to really have this opportunity. and for you to so sincerely pour your heart out for us all to learn. Because like I said, many people can recite some of maybe similar situations and the reality of it, I don't know there will be a single human being that wouldn't be touched by this. You left me with a vivid image of that one mother who came with her child to try and dig her little gold in hopes of rebuilding her life, but being blown up because somebody left her a mine after they took her gold. This is what we're doing to the future. We've taken the gold out from this planet, from this world that we were given. We're leaving them a mine.
Yeah.
That's what is awaiting the next generation. And this is, I think, in a nutshell, this is the biggest message you just put out. And the way we're going to replace that gold with gold is looking at what it is that we're inputting into the minds of the young generation. Language. We all know that language has become sort of an issue lately because language is no longer just a tool to communicate. It has become something else.
Identity.
So it's being used as a tool, right? And it's not even being used as a good tool. It is being used as a tool of division. It has become so divisive.
Yeah.
So are we going to continue to widen that division because of that language piece? And when stuff like that seeps into the world of education, seeps into the young generation and in their minds, what are we doing? We are digging the gold out and we're putting some kind of mind, because earlier you were saying, depending on what it is that we're putting in people's mind and our experiences and how we deal with it, we could become that explosive somebody, or we could self-destruct. We either self-destruct or we become destructive and we go and explode somewhere.
Yeah.
The importance of not just fixing what's broken, but fixing what's in here.
Yeah.
Fixing the psychological outlook of humanity in general.
Mental sanity.
That's sanity. I mean, when I see somebody, if my blood starts to boil over, there is a problem. Because even though we've been pointing fingers elsewhere, these four fingers continue to point back.
Yeah.
We have talked about other nations, other societies, so many different ways, and we're caught in that same entangled story. That has become our story, which was never, to begin with, our history. And then you left us with an incredible question. So 3,000 years of existence, never being considered colonized. How is it that we don't have what we consider originally ours? There is a big question there, right? If we're going to be honest, I think this should be asked of all of us. What kind of world are we shaping for the next generation? And it all depends on what I write on that empty page. If I am going to be responsible to be a parent, they're going to start learning from home before they even go outside and start reading any single letter. They get their education from home, right? And then they go out and into the world and they learn everything else, but their foundation. And I think what I have seen today, what I've heard today, and what I am really reflecting on is that strong foundation that was given to you. You're still standing on it.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Regardless of what has happened and all the different experiences. I mean, I can imagine, I don't even know if I can really, really, truly imagine, but being in the midst of war zone because you want to help people that are being impacted by the war, the conflict, and you had described it, especially with your work within the Doctors Without Border. You said you're there to help the enemy and then the army, both of them.
Both sides.
Both sides, regardless of whether they were the killers or the ones that are being killed.
Yeah.
You were engaged in just the human aspect of things. And I think what we're losing in this time of our generation is that aspect of humanity.
Yeah.
We don't see people as people anymore. We see people as a language, as a culture, as something.
Mhm.
Therefore, it takes away the value when I set myself out to destroy a human being. It just doesn't mean anything to me. It looks like I'm destroying something, like some material that has no value to me.
Yeah.
You know, life itself has lost the value, because that's how our thinking has been shaped.
Mhm.
You have sent a message to leaders. How are you shaping the future? You know, are we quick to saying, you know, hunky-dory, everything is done? Because you said also something very profound: the blood has not dried up yet.
Mhm.
What are we going to do to the people that are still crying inside? What are we doing to the people that still feel the wound?
Yeah.
You know, because we all have been involved very closely. What has happened the last 2-3 years in our own experiences. I keep coming to this one person that I had heard. I think it's probably still on my LinkedIn account. I posted a small video where an individual who happened to be in the military too, explaining a very traumatic experience, saying that I have heard people's heads exploding like they were bullets, as they were flattening them up with a tank while they were alive. Let me tell you, that secondary trauma lives with me. Just for hearing that statement, I know I am traumatized by it. And I always think about that individual. What kind of life is that person are going to have moving forward? Can you imagine that trauma? I heard it, the vivid image that I have, how atrocious this conflict between TPLF and Ethiopia
had been
is that's just one.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned another one where certain other people, or in some areas, a pregnant woman was being sliced open.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from, and why are we not asking? Is it really because we hate a government so much that we lose all humanity? Is that how we express that hatred that we have? Because a government is a system.
Yeah.
Right? So when we're in conflict with the system, we're taking it out on people, because the system, the ideology, or whatever indoctrination that we are immersed in has clouded, distorted the fact that what I am looking at, what I am cutting into, is a human being.
Yeah.
When I turn right around and walk away with a mine in a little hole after I took the gold, I'm not thinking about who could it be that is going to come and dig this thing out. You know, when somebody puts some kind of mine in water, they're not thinking of, do I have something against a complete stranger because I'm about to do it to somebody that hasn't done nothing to me? And it's just, to me, it really brings it back to the whole humanity. If we really sat down, take everything aside, and come down to the basics.
Every being, actually.
Right. Every being.
Yeah.
Every one of us.
Yeah.
Created by the image of God, as a person, as human beings.
Yeah.
If we asked ourselves, without having to respond to anyone, what causes my blood to boil over inside of me, even if when I'm not talking to somebody, or if I'm not doing anything to anyone? If we really come to that sincere honesty, even with ourselves, I think there is a potential to change the way we look at the world. This is the second interview in about a month that I'm having, and without necessarily any one of you guys knowing each other or talking to each other, literally talking about coming back to the basics, paying attention to the fact that we were created as humans, right? We bleed just the same way. And then also destroying the planet. And then the sharing side of things. I mean, I'm like, wow, this is so profound, because people can go back and look at that same interview that I did with Pebbles. He's a journalist, literally stepping out into a different topic and talking about spirituality. He called it. I know spirituality means something to people, but this is what it means to me. Talks about the planet, how we're destroying it, how beautifully it was created to begin with, but because of our own selfish desire, look where it's at. And what are we turning into? What have we become? What is the world that we're creating into, and why are we not looking towards the future? And what are we giving to the future, the next generation? Because that's not the world that was given to me. The world that was passed on to us is not what we're getting ready to pass on. And I think the way I want to wrap it up, you've said so many things, but honestly, that just from beginning to where you're at today, in a nutshell though, what is the world that was given to us? What are we instilling in our mind as well as the next generation? And then I think the most powerful thing that I want to really leave this interview with is, are we leaving a mine instead of gold? What are we leaving behind? Because my legacy, your legacy, whoever else is going to listen to this interview and go, I wonder what I'm leaving behind. Honestly, in the words that we use, in the words that we utter, in the words that we write, and I always say the digital ink, whether it's about Ethiopia, whether it's about our history, whether it's about our culture, we all are leaving some kind of legacy behind, because this interview is going to be out there, and it will be there. And I hope to God that people will take time to listen to it, because this is not something that somebody has read somewhere and is trying to analyze. This is proven life experience that is coming out of your heart and your soul. And if we didn't learn from things like this, I'm not sure we can learn just from a book that is given to us. You know what I'm saying? Because this is tested through life. This is a life journey. And like I said, most people I know could probably relate to this because they've gone through something similar. I can tell that you're painting a picture as you're speaking to it. And I know people can relate to that. But you know what? The most powerful thing, besides what I just said, is the fact that all these different challenges that you've gone through did not break you.
Oh, no.
And the bond that you had for Ethiopia continues to be stronger, that left you still have that desire to want to go back and to call the people my people. And to even feel that hurt when somebody says you're not a person desired to be in this country. that kind of came close, right? That hit home, because you see yourself as an Ethiopian, regardless of what language you spoke, you know? And to me, what has happened, what was given to you, what you saw growing up, and what you had received as a child remained to be your foundation. There is something to be said about that. What is the foundation in which that we are giving our children?
Especially today, because everything is on social media. All this thing that we talked about is on social media, and the kids are having access to it.
Absolutely. And like I said, my children, your children, everybody else's children in the future, when they want to know something about Ethiopia, they're going to go on Google first and look it up and say, oh my God, this is what Ethiopia is about. That's what we're leaving behind. This is why I'm saying, are we really leaving a gold mine or a mine that would blow up their mind to say, okay, I want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
What are we leaving behind? So I am so honored to really be the person to hear your life journey. I hope that people would take time, sit back and listen, because it's better than any book. honestly, because it's a life journey. This is the things that you've seen in your own eyes.
Yeah.
This is your true feelings.
Oh yeah, it was, yeah.
I could see it. I'm sure it was pretty difficult for you in some of the topics to be as open as you were. And you're leaving us with a very vivid image. And this is how we learn from it, you know?
Yeah.
What better way, right? So once again, thank you so much. I want to say so grateful. It is an honor to really have your life journey on Independent Voice. And thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you to you. Okay. Because it's not that I was looking for someone to do this, but there will still be people who will be criticizing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that's okay. There will be people who would think that some of the outcomes here are naive. Okay. They can do that. It's okay. But nothing in here is naive. We went to a shortcut. We went to shorten a little bit the whole discussion, to go to the point, you know. So if there are questions or if there are any comments, genuine comments, etc., I'm ready to answer through your own channel, you know.
Sure thing. Yep.
Because as you rightly said it in your wrap-up, nothing here is overmade. This is real-time experience. And the outcome of my thinking, it involves me only, but it is based on empirical examples, you know.
So to interject on that, I don't see any naivety in being brave.
Thank you.
Bravery and naivete don't go together.
Yeah.
But the thing that I want to say though is, and because I've done this before and I see comments, not so much in my channel, but other places that I view, sometimes people mistake an opinion for insult. And I'm not saying everybody has to be positive. I'm just saying people have the freedom to express their feedback, their comments. That's why it's out there. We want to hear from you.
Okay.
Give us a feedback.
Yeah.
People could say, wow, I've reflected on this. I've learned this, or I didn't know about this. Any opinion. And I will extend an invitation to anyone who's listening. If they want to continue to have a conversation, you've opened it up. I am more than willing to continue to have a dialogue. And I also encourage people to comment on their feedback. The example I've gotten from you today probably would live with me for the rest of my life. I would never, ever want to take anything gold out of anything and leave a mine. And thank you so very much. Thanks again for joining us. This is Mame, and this is Independent Voice.